What is up, guys? Chaotic Tunes here, and can we go back to talking about high school? I know, I already talked about high school, and I completely understand. But this time, I want to touch on specific people, and I'm deciding if I want to make it teachers, or students, or maybe a mix of both. But we'll see where this goes. Also, I'm going to be talking about the people in Farmers High School, rather than the other high school, because I didn't like anybody at that school, honestly. Let's start talking about my astronomy teacher. Let's call her Miss Tony, alright? Miss Tony was definitely a strange lady. Not in a bad way, she was just strange. I don't know, you'll see what I mean. See, normally, when you fall asleep in anyone's class, right, they will do a couple of things. Either one, they will just let you sleep and ignore you. Two, ask someone to wake you up. 3, create a loud noise to wake you up, or 4, wake you up by themselves. Alright? But no, Miss Tony took it to the extreme. She would grab your stuff and she would check to make sure you didn't have anything too valuable, and then she would throw it out the window. Alright? This was on the 2nd floor of the building. She would just grab your stuff, throw it out the window. I'm not even sure if this is legal. Alright? All I know for sure is that no one ever fell asleep in her class. At least no one that I knew. But she was also really cool. She gave me a lot of opportunities. She gave me a lot of chances to make up work. And she always pushed me to be someone better, because she said that she believed I was a smart kid. I was just a very lazy kid. And at least she's right about me being lazy. I'm trying to get over that though. Nonetheless though, Miss Tony, cool lady, mad respect for her. I wonder what she's up to now. Kind of unrelated, but at the same time related. I had a friend. Well, not a friend. He was friends, but we didn't really hang out too much because he was kind of a, jackass. But one time we were all sitting in the lunchroom, right? And he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm talking to this girl, yada yada yada. She's really cool looking. She's really cool. She's really good looking. All this other stuff." I was like, "Yeah, man, good for you, right?" And he kept talking about her for I want to say 2 weeks, right? And on a Friday, he's like, "Oh, you know what? I'm gonna go to the movies with her on this weekend. Wish me luck, boys." I was like, "Bet, dude, good luck." Alright, whatever, I don't really care. Monday comes by. He doesn't say a single word, alright? He doesn't mention how the movie went, doesn't mention how the date went, doesn't mention her at all. And I thought it was a little strange. But I just let it, through. Until Friday, I was like, "Hey, dude, you haven't talked about this girl. What happened? Did the date go that bad?" And he goes from having fun to look me dead in the eye, all serious, and goes, "I don't want to talk about it, dude." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I don't want to talk about it." Later on in that day, I found out that he was actually going on a date with the daughter of Miss Tony. And oh my god, dude, I could not have asked for better revenge on this dude. Because he was he didn't do anything bad to me. He was just a jackass. And he wanted to seem like he was better than everyone else, right? Again, hot feces. But whatever, I'm over it now. Next up, I want to talk about my vice principal back then. He doesn't work there anymore, so I don't really know what became of him. Let's call him Mr. B, alright? Mr. B was hella chill, because when I moved to the US, I went to this elementary, and he was the principal there. And he really helped me out, because I didn't know a lot of English, and he was actually from a Central American country. And he was really cool. He really helped me. He had patience with me. He helped me with tests and all this stuff. So I knew him for a while, right? I was overjoyed when I saw him being the vice principal at the high school that I wanted to go. So I was like, "Oh, lit, dude. This is good stuff," right? So he and I were cool, right? As a matter of fact, you know how when the semester starts, you have, I think, a week, maybe a week and a half, to drop any classes or add any classes that you don't want in the schedule they gave you. So that was me, alright? I didn't want a class that they were giving me. I don't remember what class it was. But anyways, I didn't need it and I didn't want it, okay? That's the opposite of the song. Whatever. I didn't need it, I didn't want it. But this was already 2 weeks in, maybe 3. I think it was 3 weeks in, right? So I go up to Mr. B's office. I'm like, "Mr. B, I need your help." And he's like, "What's up?" And I was like, "Alright, check it out. I don't want to be in this class." He's like, "You're a little too late to drop the class." I was like, "Isn't there anything I can do?" He's like, "Give me a second," right? He goes into his office. Well, it was weird because it was an office within an office. Like, it was like a little conference room that was inside his office, and then inside that conference room was another office. Kind of a weird layout now that I think about it. Nonetheless, he goes in there, prints something out, and comes back like, alright, here's your new schedule. He dropped the class for me, dude. He dropped the class. Like, oh my goodness, dude. That was some good looking now, Mr. B. Mad respect for you to this day. Mad respect. Also, he had the most soothing voice. Like, imagine a Hispanic Morgan Freeman, alright? Like, imagine Morgan Freeman with that Hispanic accent. That's what he sounded like, dude. Like, he only got mad at me a couple of times. When he got mad at me, I couldn't even be like upset. I was like, damn, that's deep. Next up, and I think might be the last one, I want to talk about Mrs. R. She was my English teacher when I was a junior. Everybody, and I mean everybody in the class, absolutely loved her. She was awesome. She was funny. She was very smart. She was an overall amazing lady, and I loved her, dude. She really helped me out when I was struggling with English because it's my first language, right? I actually got a pretty funny story and maybe slightly racist that happened in her classroom one time. But telling the story itself is gonna take a little longer time than I have left here. So I'll save that for another video, probably the next one, because it's actually, now that I think about it, a pretty good story. But yeah, Mrs. R was an absolutely amazing person. I loved her. And she was the only teacher to this day that actually got me excited to read a book, right? In her class, we read a couple books. We read Salem, you know, the whole Salem witch hunt and all that. We also read Screw Abigail, by the way. We also read, damn, I forgot. I think it's Flying Kite. Hold on, let me look it up right. It's actually called Kite Runner. My bad. But nonetheless, it was a really good book. It was very interesting. It was also a little brutal, in my opinion. Not a little, but very brutal. And it put a lot of things into perspective because, to some extent, I could relate to some of the things in that book. Honorable mention though, Mr. M. He was one of my science teachers, and he was cool, but there was something off about him. Now, I don't mean that in a bad way, because he was really cool, and I also have another story about his class. I'll probably tell another story because it also takes a little bit of time. But his science class that I was taking, for some reason, was extremely easy for me, and I finished all the work and all the assignments, homework. I finished it all within the class and with enough time left in the class. So I would often goof around in the class or do stupid things, and he couldn't get mad at me because guess what, my boy? I did my work. Now he could tell me to stop interrupting the other students because they're busy at their work. So more often than not, I watch a lot of videos in his class. I can talk about a bunch of other teachers that I had, and I probably will later on. But these are the ones that stood out the most when I thought about influential people that I knew back then. I want to go back to high school. Nonetheless, though, I do appreciate you guys sticking around this long. This is a little bit of a longer video. Didn't expect it to be this long. I appreciate you. If you like the content, please like, comment, subscribe. And until next one, take care and don't do drugs.